Welcome to Creatives Grab Coffee, the podcast on the business of video production.
Creatives Grab Coffee is hosted by Dario Nuri and Kirill Lazarov from Labs Productions. Our goal is to share knowledge and experiences from video production professionals around the world. Whether you're a freelancer looking to start your own business or a seasoned business owner aiming to scale your company, this is the show for you.
Join us as we develop a community of like-minded creatives looking to learn and help each other grow. Welcome to the business of video production. Welcome to Creatives Grab Coffee.
Before we get started with the show, let's go over today's sponsors.
Do you have a shoot in Toronto? Do you need crew or a strong production partner to help you with your project? Labs Productions is one of the top production companies in Toronto and your go-to video partner.
With our strong creative skills and extensive network, we can help you achieve your goal. Labs Productions is able to offer you production services, white label services, or finder fees for project handoffs.
Reach out to us on our website at labsproductions.com to learn more.
My name is Miran. Welcome to Canada Film Equipment. We are a boutique rental house based in Toronto. We are here to help you guys out with all production sizes. Feel free to contact us to get a quote if you are a production house and you're looking for lighting, camera packages, or lighting and group fan packages. You can see our contact information in the link below. We are more than happy to help you guys out. Make sure you follow and subscribe to creativesgrabcoffee.com. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt. Welcome to Audio Process. We are a boutique audio company doing location sound, sound design, post-sound, ADR, Foley. We service equipment. We do all your audio needs here in Toronto. We got you covered. Come on down, audioprocess.ca. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and all of the other internet things to creativesgrabcoffee.com. They'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you, and we're all going to have a real good time.
And now, let's begin the show.
Okay, guys, welcome to another episode. Today we have Tyler Mose from MatchPoint Studio. And Tyler, we were just chatting before we hit the record button. So you were mentioning how big our company is. We mentioned that it was just Kirill and I, and then obviously we scale up and down based on the production. And then you started going into your tangent, so I'm just going to segue back into what we were talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, long story short, as far as on that, we're small business owners, service providers, as far as within the entrepreneurship space. And it's all sales based. I mean, regardless of I think that's one thing a lot of creatives learn really early on, if they can, stomach it, to be frank, that, hey, I'm talented, hey, I'm creative, but can I get people to actually buy this and sustain myself and support myself? And we're basically implementing a strategy here moving forward when we hit a certain revenue number per salesperson with a book of business that they've developed, and then a book of business that they're given from previous accounts, and then new accounts that we're farming as far as the current moment. We're just continuing to add salespeople and just stack it and stack it and stack it to scale MatchPoint, that is.
How do you keep adding salespeople? Because I find that's the hardest thing for us is trying to find someone to help us sell ourselves. Mm-hmm. I found that when we were first starting out, we actually tried bringing on a salesperson, but I feel the way they were approaching our business wasn't in the correct. I guess what I'm trying to say is you had to be in the business to kind of understand how to sell it.
For sure.
So how do you find those people?
Yeah, I mean, salespeople suck. But also I could say that I've had a bad experience with, a plumber, an electrician, videographers. It's across the board. It's just how it goes. You can't win all the time. But we find people that have either have ad experience or have had experience as far as successfully selling some type of content as far as in the past. And then we bring them on, give them training. And it's tough. I mean, from the perspective that if you haven't been in production and really understand how to price it out and the pricing tiers of it, it's a steep learning curve. But I mean, it's not rocket science. You can figure it out. But yeah, I mean, we've gone through multiple salespeople throughout the last number of years. So I mean, there's not. Don't get me wrong. We haven't created some specific formula that it's like, this is exactly how we're going to develop a salesperson. I'd say like maybe 30 to 40% of them only make it, but that's how it goes. Like,
Yeah, with sales. Like, how many are you at now?
we have 3 total,
Okay.
including
And
yours
how-
truly.
and nice. And how has like the turnover been? Because you said you've gone through quite a few over the last few years. And do you find that, like, for example, your current other 2 salespeople have they been around for a while, or is it kind of, just recently they jumped on?
They just recently jumped on. I did it all myself. So I've been in this business. I'm 40. I started when I was 18 working for ESPN. I did game day production at my university, and quickly found out I don't want to be in that type of business. Tough business, and I'll leave it at that. Respect those people 1,000%, but like, I am not trying to. Maybe in my early 20s, I would have wanted to be in like 2, 3, 4 cities in a week and on the road and living out of a suitcase constantly, but
Yeah.
not at this stage. I don't even like business travel anymore, to be frank. Anyway, we have had a variety of salespeople that we have groomed throughout the years. Like I said, this is my second agency, and video production, animation, and illustration agency. And some of them have been great. Some of them, like a lot of salespeople come in, are very confident and talk a great game, and then when the road meets the rubber, like, they're not developing anything, or they're not bringing in dollars, because you know how it goes. It's one of those things that, like, until the money's in your bank account, checks cash cleared, all that good stuff, like,
Yeah.
you kind of just have hopes and dreams at that point. But we have had my senior account executive at MatchPoint, Kevin Mallon, has been with us for about 6 months now, has developed a pretty robust pipeline and some pretty extensive clientele as far as for us. He came from another content advertising and marketing space, as far as primarily selling a variety of white papers and information-rich content as far as that companies use for lead generation. And then we have a very junior salesperson, actually my nephew, Atticus Stevens, that is helping out as far as with lead generation through a variety of software systems we use, as far as to find the correct contacts, and then mining our actual network, and then reaching out to them through those platforms.
So you guys are doing like a lot of cold outreach, huh?
We run a lot of campaigns as far as online for lead generation. We run a lot of SEO campaigns, and then we do a ton of cold outreach. Like, if you really want to grow your business, like, you have to have a sales team. Like, good luck doing it on your own. Like, I mean, in the history of the world, people have done it, but, like, at the same time, like, you can only do so much. Like, and the situation is if you're not selling, someone else is taking business from you, and you need to be selling 24/7, 365. It's just how it works.
That's like the part that we have a lot of trouble with, is that, like, you need to do like the cold outreach and the marketing campaigns and like the inbound leads, but there's only so much time in the day, right? Like, so that's the part we struggle with a lot, is like trying to find time to focus on everything. Because even starting something like a marketing campaign, there's a lot of development that goes into that, a lot of time and effort, and same with something like cold outreach. I think the easiest one is definitely just the inbound leads. But even then, you gotta like sit down, reply, schedule the meetings, try to close them. So how would you go about it if it's just like us? It's just Carol and me running our business. What would you recommend for like a company like ours to kind of like be able to make that next move?
You gotta start doing it, man. Like, I mean, we don't really do like cold marketing outreach as far as cold marketing outreach, like email marketing, a lot of social content. My previous agency, we did a lot of that, and like, to be frank, it worked for the business that we were kind of going after in that space, because these people were online constantly. They were on Instagram, they were on Facebook, seeing like what we were doing. But the truth is like, they were shitty clients, like, from the perspective that like they were very low
budget,
low budget, low budget, but wanted high production value, which is high service, low margin, low profit, bad business to be in. Like, you have to do volume at that point, and like, I mean, I don't want to be in that business. That's why the Hollywood people make the most money in this business, in the production space, because massive margins with it. But you got to start selling one-on-one, like reaching out to people, asking for introductions as far as to people that you see other folks are connected to on LinkedIn. And then, establishing yourself as a resource compared to just like trying to force it down their throats as far as that, like, are you going to buy now? No. Okay. Well, kiss my ass. And it's like, okay, like, this is a relationship. You need to start developing it. The biggest thing I see that happens with salespeople is someone says they're interested and they don't follow up. Hey, we're totally interested. We love your work. When's a good time to follow up with you? Or when would you be interested? 9 months from now. Call me in Q4. Okay. In my notebook or in Salesforce, add a task as far as 9 months from now. Follow up then. Like, it's just because you don't get the business right now doesn't mean you might not get it 9 months, 12 months, 6 years from now. You just have to keep following up.
Do you stay in touch with them, like bring them out to meet, like, lunches, stuff like that, just to stay top of mind?
No, not lunches and things like that. Like, just reach out via email, via phone, as far as just to check in. I mean, we definitely do client lunches here and there. We've done client events. We've, rented suites at baseball stadiums and things along those lines. We've done various, like, parties at our office and things along those lines. Not a lot, but, like, enough to, like, stay in front of them and let them know that we're relevant and we're in business. But the biggest thing is the personal touch, as far as with it, like, face to face, as far as with them, and like building a relationship with them that way. Because I mean, my previous agency, I didn't even finish. Like, we did all this social content and like all this email marketing content, and I feel like we were really just stroking the founders, the former co-founders' ego the entire time with it, with putting his face out there as far as with it. But like, didn't work. Like, it literally didn't work. Like, we had people doing it, and we had salaried employees, benefited employees. This doesn't work for the margins that we're going for as far as with this. You want to stay relevant on social, maybe some email marketing here and there, just to let people know you're still in business, because these agencies come and go, unfortunately. Fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Sorry, never mind. I've already missed what I was going to say.
I wanted to go into, like, your past a little bit. Like, so you started your first agency, and then you stopped and you started MatchPoint. I'm just curious, what made you stop that first one?
I didn't get along with the former co-founder anymore. He wanted to go full agency, and like, he was trying to get people on as far as with these like super low, like, social content packages or monthly retainer packages, and starting at like $1,000 a month. And I'm just like, dude, I'm like, we cannot scale a business if we've got like 30 people paying us $1,000 a month. I'm like, when you've got like a $500,000 payroll, $600,000 payroll, as far as with it, that's nothing. That's like, basically, you have to make profit on money. You can't take money and just move money as far as with it. You need to take money. Okay. You need to take money and pay for whatever percentage of service or employee or software, and then you need to take a percentage of that and put it in your pocket too. And if you're just moving money and not making money on it, you're wasting your time. You're spinning
I figured you guys were making something at least, but it seems like it was just break even, no?
Well, we were making good money. We were making good money and all, but here's the situation that like you run into with these agencies too, is that like, the more services you offer, the more specialists you need to do it. And when you're getting to the point that you're doing like 60 to 70 projects a month, it's insane. And then
it's a lot.
Like, totally. And like, we had people start like employees start like having like mental problems, and I'm just like, and like, he didn't care. Like, I was just like, dude, like, the problem is these people are getting worked to the bone as far as within this company, and like, you don't care. because we're just like, we scaled, like we for sure scaled, but like I don't want to brag about like working 24/7. I want to brag about doing large projects and doing less projects, but at a higher profit margin. That's how you can scale these businesses. You cannot be running around like, I know there's 1,000 YouTubers, probably more than that, talking about how they're making $10,000 a month doing real estate videos.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they don't tell you like, oh, I'm doing 40 projects a month for $250, and like, it's just, you can't scale. That's like, you know, the realtors get to the same point. It's like, you know, do you want to be in the $200,000 average sale size, or do you want to be in the 2 million? Do you want to make a $6,000 profit, or do you want to make a $60,000 profit? Depending on like how you've got it set up. It's just, and usually the larger projects and the larger contract value take less time. So it's just, it's you always want to be in higher margin businesses. I don't care, like, I'll never try to sell candy bars. I'll put it that way. Since
I think people get stuck in the productizing mindset, where it's like, businesses that sell a product always end up making more money because you can scale bigger than a service-based business. But I think there comes a point where you can't apply that to something like our industry that well, because then you get into the problem you were having, where it's like you do 60, 70 projects, but you still need manpower behind each one of those projects. It's not like you're selling like a water bottle where it's like, okay, you just need couple factory workers and the machines do most of the bulk labor. Like when it comes to video and all that, it's like people doing bulk labor.
Not to mention the fact that a lot of these projects are you're gonna be like fighting. It's like what is that saying where you're kind of like pricing yourself downward, you know, because then you have to be competitive with other businesses who are providing very similar products, right? So you're always trying to give like as much value to the client if you're going to make it a product. But the other problem is, to your point, Tyler, is that would you rather be doing, like, for example, making $50,000 in revenue but $10,000 profit, or making $500,000 revenue but still $10,000 profit, right? It's like scaling does not necessarily mean growing your workload. It's more so growing the value you create for your business, whatever way that might be. That is the right way to kind of think, the right kind of mindset in terms of how to properly scale business. Like, increase the value for your business, not the workload only.
Not all revenue is good revenue. Like, not all revenue is good revenue from the perspective of like the time investment in it. Like I have a friend that told me he will not do anything anymore, and he's super successful. He told me he will not do anything that equates to a $5,000 an hour return for him. And I'm just like, you know,
my God,
man, good for you. But like,
wow.
I was like, good for you. And like, you know, you have to say no to this stuff. It's like, I can't tell you, and this business is hard because there's always someone that will do this for less money. Like there's always someone, whatever you do, will do this for less money. We had a project we just had to say no to a couple of months ago, and I wanted it for our portfolio because it was a huge name. Like, it was a huge brand name, like worldwide known. Like, I won't say it, but just for discretion, but they kept trying to knock us down on the price with it. And I just said, I'm like, you are literally asking for like not only every member of my team outside of sales, so 5 total people, to be involved in this project, and you need this from soup to nut. You need creative, scripting, production, 2D animation, post-production, and there's going to be 50 rounds of edits probably just based on like legal that you're dealing with. Because you deal with some of these like pharma, med device, like large international entities. It ain't just you and the CMO or the creative director making edits on this. This is going to legal. This is going to CEO. This is going to partners. This is going to individual government entities to review. And like, they basically like wanted us to do this for about 20% of what we initially proposed on it. And I was like, God, I'm like, I was like,
Nah,
how do I
man.
make this work? How do I make this work? And then I was just like, no. I'm like, what's going to happen here is what's happened in the past, Tyler. Like, don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen is this is going to drive down your margins, suck your team's time and energy, and drive you nuts. And you're probably going to lose a client out of it because you're going to get annoyed at some point. But that's
You know what bugs me about that is that it's a big client. We've had times where it's like a smaller client, and we're like, oh, you know what? I would like to add this piece to our portfolio because it'll make it easier to pitch like a similar type of product in the future. But then you go like, okay, it's a smaller client, smaller budget, like you're a little more understanding. But when it's like a big like AAA client like that, you're like,
Yeah.
I know you have the money. Like, why are you being this like cheap? You know?
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing about it. And like, we did this project a couple of days ago that like, we walked into these people's office and I was like, I can't believe they were so hard in the negotiations on us. I'm like, wow. I'm like, they've got like every type of protein bar, snack, and like drink in like 3 huge fridges.
How do you think they afford it?
Yeah.
I know, by nickel and diming their vendors.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'm just like,
Dude,
wow.
we have a story. So one time
The
we
gold-
were doing
the gold-
gold story.
Yeah, even I immediately
so-
thought of it.
So we were doing a project one time. I forgot how we got connected. We won't mention the name, but we got connected to
It
this
was a
company
contact
through
of mine. It was a
through an
contact of mine that I
intermediary.
met. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
through an intermediary who works at this big media organization. So, anyways, we got hired to shoot this like. They weren't called podcasts at the time. It was called like a roundtable discussion.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, that's the new roundtable. Podcasts are the new roundtable
roundtable
discussion.
discussion.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
So we're before we film it, we're just talking with the guys, and they're part of this mining company, and they're showing us like these gold cubes that they had, and they just put them on the
plopped it
table.
on the
We're
table.
like, we plopped them on the table. We're playing around with them and everything. And I turn around to Kirill. I'm like, do you real? There were like 12 cubes of that. I was like, do you realize like 6 of those is what we're getting paid for this whole thing? I was like, they
Well,
should
we
just
didn't
hand
know.
us, like,
We didn't
I was
know.
like, they
They
should
said-
just hand us like six of these, and it would have been fine, right? And yada yada. We do the project. Months go by, like follow-ups. Where's the money? Like blah 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 blah. And
It was only $3,000. It
was
wasn't
only
that
$3,000
much.
It was like one of our first projects, like way back in 2014 when we first started. Anyways, we had to like basically tell them, it's like, look, we're gonna like do a copyright strike on your YouTube video. And they ended up paying us quickly. But the irony is that like they had these 6 gold cubes that were basically our
there.
salary. And I was
Each
like,
cube was worth
could've just handed
$500,
it-
and it was like
could've-
this big.
Oh yeah, they were like tiny. They were like less than a centimeter. And it was just funny. Like it's like you could have just handed that, and yeah. But
It's
they were being
tough,
like so
man.
cheap about like paying. It's like what's going on here? Like,
Totally. No, I hear you. And like that's the thing. And unfortunately, like we could sit here and complain about like client issues. We can complain about contractor issues. Biggest thing I've had trouble like consistently maintaining in this business are the videographers, like the actual people that do the on-site production. Everybody else, my 2D animator, my 3D animator, copywriters, production director. My production director is a rock star. Like, I don't know how I did this without her for so long as far as before this, or before we found her. She's amazing, Courtney Burkett. And then, but like, the thing too is that like, this is a very expensive sport to play. Like, it's a very expensive sport from the perspective of like, you know, we have production vans, we have gear, we have multiple gear sets. It breaks, you lose a drone, and it's like it's just how it works. So it's like I always push back as far as from the perspective of like we're usually showing up with like about $200,000 worth of stuff for anything. Like even if it's just like today we're doing a project as far as with a software development company that across the street, so convenient. Literally across the street from our office. I was like, man, all right. But you know, the thing is like it's just interview and B-roll, but like we're literally showing up with like $200,000 worth of stuff to do this.
yeah.
And the tech gets outgraded quickly. Like it literally like changes so fast. It's like was Red's coming out with like a new camera every year, multiple cameras every year, and it's tough. Like it's tough, but like, you know, it's kind of like my grandfather said to me, he goes, he was a blue collar entrepreneur. He was just like, you've been in this so long. He was just like, you're not going to do anything else at this point. He's just like, you're like 22 years into this, man. He's just like, he was like, this is what you're doing for the rest of your life. And I really do love what I do, but sometimes like, I'm so blessed to do this, but sometimes I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, can I create a SaaS platform as far as that it makes me hundreds of millions of dollars and I just hang out on the beach with my wife all day long? No, not going to be, not yet.
You mentioned the videographers are tricky for you. So why is that? Like, why are you having tough time with them?
You know, I don't know what the situation with the videographers are. I think that like actual on-site production is a mundane task. Like you're setting stuff up, you're moving like a lot of like weight as far as from the perspective of like, depending on what your setup looks like, from, you know, loading up your cart, dragging it in there, setting everything up, lighting everything, turning everything on, capturing all footage, breaking it all down, putting it all away, and then like repeat as far as on it. There's a big difference between like a good shooter and a mid-level shooter and a beginner as far as with it, and especially like how they light, how they conduct themselves as far as on site. But I don't know. I think a lot of those people, like I pay my videographers really well, but I think that a lot of them don't do this business like for the money, and that's fine. But, you know, at the same time, like this is a business and we're going to treat it like that. And we have to make profit to be able to like pay everyone. Cause I don't just want to, you know, a $70,000 a month hobby. I mean, nothing against it, but like, you know, not doing that. But I don't know. Like, that's in this business from an employment perspective. Those are the only people I've ever had a problem with. Like because some want to do like.
I'm kind of like so. Is it because just to clarify what the issue might be? Is it because maybe like they want to get like a certain creative shot and you're short on time? Like,
no,
is that type of argument, or?
I think he means attitude. That's what I got.
Huh? Yeah, like attitude. We do corporate stuff,
attitude,
so
yeah.
it's like you get a lot of these people that want to do like narrative docs or skate videos, or like if I had it my way, we'd do nothing but snowboarding videos and wakeboarding videos, but like good luck getting paid doing that. And like
sponsored by GoPro.
Yeah, GoPro, the greatest like viral marketing. I wouldn't even call it viral, like consumer marketing like brand in Red Bull in history. And Nike, but well, let's just say athletics brands. But I think that it's a lot of these people want to be the next big thing in production or the next like shooter as far as with it. And like fact of the matter is it's really hard to like earn a living in this space. Like once you get out and you're a freelancer or an operator or whatever. And I think a lot of them want to do these like super creative projects, but like you got to pay the bills and you got to keep your lights on.
Yeah. Okay. So is it kind of like the way they conduct themselves on a corporate set of like maybe an I don't care about this type attitude? Because I've heard of stories of some shooters being like that sometimes on set. Is that kind of what you've been running into a little bit, or is it a little different? Instead of getting
into all that, I hope that videographers, aspiring videographers, and current videographers that are maybe watching this can really heed what I'm about to say, which is you got to check your ego as far as with this. Like, that's cool, you're an artist. Everybody's an artist. Like, I'm an artist from the perspective of an operator, a creative director, and then a salesperson as far as within the creative space. The videographers and shooters are artists in that perspective. The editors are artists in that perspective too. But the client doesn't care. The client wants the end product. And if you do not want to like sell yourself for what you've deemed short as far as doing exactly what you want to do, you just need to go through the pain finding a way to make a living in that specific area instead of selling out per se and like doing corporate content. Because or doing like, I mean, you see all these people do like wedding videos and like we don't do that, or little kids' birthday videos to like get by and do their thing there as far as with it. But like, if you do not want, as a creative, you need to do really what you want to do and like figure it out. Don't like jump on board with some company that you feel like you're just going to be there for 12 months just to get a paycheck and leave. Like, go do what you really want to do.
Hot
Well
take.
said. Well said. Well said.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. Like, we all got to do what we want to do. Like, I mean, I'm 15 years on my own at this point. I'm unemployable. Like, I'm literally unemployable. Like, I couldn't go back and work for somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been doing it for so long on your own, of course, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, like for anyone who's like jumping into the space, like if you're also going to go into it with the mindset of just it's only a paycheck, also still do a good job though if you're going to do that, right? Like actually do the work, be part of a team. You know, that's the other thing a lot of people don't realize is it's not always sometimes about the work. It's about like being in the trenches with people, you know,
Yeah.
and being with the team, because you never know where those connections can lead down the road. It's like, you know, it's like, hey, remember that really dry corporate shoot that we had to really get through, but you know, it was still fun because this and this we did or whatever. And then they call you up for some creative project a few years later down the road because they remember you were reliable, you were great to work with, that is the one thing that a lot of people in this industry need to remember, is that be a fun person to work with, or be memorable at least in a way, but in a good way, hopefully.
Totally.
Right? Like,
don't. Yeah. Like you know, oh, you think that like the corporate recruitment video you're shooting is like below you because you want to do music videos. Then don't do the corporate. Like, go do music videos. Good luck. Like,
Yeah.
and good luck getting
be
paid.
broke.
You might just. I always joke with like our interns that we get from the art schools and whatnot that say they want to do that. I'm like, dude, you need to realize, like, a lot of those people doing those music videos, we had some guy trying to get us to do, we get all these calls every year of people, like, trying to get us to do music videos, and I'm like, sorry,
my
dude,
God.
we don't want to get paid in all the weed we can smoke and all the booze we can drink as far as on set. I'm just like, we're good, man. So, yeah.
Interesting.
They're always reaching out. Like we see them every once in a while coming through. It's like, hey, we got this cutting edge new song that's coming out. We need a music video for. It's like, how much do you charge? It's like,
We were getting that so much at the beginning. Now it's just my inbox is filled with the voiceover actors and like just spam from like
AI.
I can
spam.
grow AI spam. I can grow your SEO, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
lead generation. As far as with it, I had a voiceover artist call me 2 days ago. It was totally hilarious. He calls me and he poses. He's speaking in Donald Trump's voice, and he's like, Tyler,
good.
this is President Trump. I'm calling you. We need your assistance for a campaign video that we're looking to create. He was like, we know it's going to be a huge success. You're very talented. You and the team, we're absolutely enthralled to potentially be working with you. We need to chat with you. When can you meet? And I'm like, and at first I was like, this is a robocall. And then I hear the dude laugh, and I'm like, oh,
He laughed.
I'm like, well, this is one of my buddies. And I was like, who is this? And he was like, oh, I'm actually a voiceover artist. And I was like, damn. I'm like, that was good.
that's actually not bad. That's
that's
something
pretty
good.
good.
It's
I'm not
better
gonna lie,
than
I can't stand them, but I would take his number down.
that guy deserves a call.
Yeah, man, that's wild about like with see, that's the thing too, is like if you go the contract route in this, I mean, obviously, like, I'm not going to hire somebody unless we get a client that we have to hire like a full-time voiceover artist, which I highly doubt will ever happen. But man, the costs on that stuff can get pretty wild sometimes, especially if you go through some of the .coms that are basically like, you know,
For voiceover?
Yeah, like
voices.com?
Voicebunny.com, some of the other ones as well, as far as
Voices.com?
Yeah, I don't think we use that one. We usually primarily just use Voice Bunny, but man, they jack up those rates of those people like 6 or 7x. It's crazy as far as
really?
yeah, because
Is it?
we found them individually before to like contract them,
Yeah.
and yeah, like we presented the script because a lot of those you get a quote from the site, you don't get a quote from the actual artist within it to start.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like one that this company wanted $6,000 for like a 2.5 minute read. As far as on this, we find the individual artist, and I'm like, this is what it is, and he was like, it's going to be $750, and I was
Huh.
like, I was just like,
Bro, that's
damn,
a life.
dude.
That's a business hack right there. So basically,
Yeah.
use those voices to filter out who you want. Find those people individually and just hire them. That's a that's a business hack right there. I'm doing that for
Yeah.
the next one.
I mean, like, the
Great.
one we use is voices.com, and the difference with that one compared to yours is that you basically post like a job where you set the budget and the rate for it, and all the parameters. This is where it's going to be broadcast. This is how long in perpetuity, yada yada.
We should
And
get in
then-
touch with the voiceover act that we're using for our latest project and see what he would actually charge instead of like what the website would charge.
I think what the website does is they take like a 10 or 15% commission off of it, so it's kind of
is that
standard
it?
stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay,
with like that's why I'm saying voices is really good because everyone understands how it works there. That's why some of them propose slightly higher rates, just to kind of compensate for those percentages. But yeah, so like once we make the job posting, where we ask people to do like a 5 or 10 second read just so we can hear their voice to hear
Yeah.
how it sounds. They all apply, and then we just kind of go through, filter them, and then choose who we want to hire. And it's actually a really good system that's helps you get access to like a larger talent pool and a reliable platform where you're not just dealing with some random cold outreach person that's like, hey, sorry if I'm reaching out for the 15th time, and just tell me
Yeah.
if I'm way out of
How's-
left field here.
How's that Voice Bunny set? Is it the same thing?
Probably. I mean, it's
Okay.
probably. I mean, you just go in there and search like male 30s baritone voice.
Oh, that's more search.
Yeah,
That's more
it's
search.
Total search. It's total search on
Oh, okay.
voicebuddy.com.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so that's probably why it's more expensive because of the back end and the development as far as the actual site. So
Check out voices.com. I think it might be a little easier for you.
okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
especially
yeah,
for
check it out.
simple, especially for simple and smaller type projects, because like not every project can afford, not every corporate video can afford a $5,000 voiceover artist when
It's
the
usually for
budget is
commercials.
10,000.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
usually for
yeah, for
commercials.
sure. Yeah. Hey, yeah, sure. We'll contract that voiceover artist, and then with everything else, like our costs are going to be $7,000, and we'll make $3,000. 30% margins sound good. So I mean, but see,
yeah.
that's the biggest thing as far as within this space is like you got to maintain margins. Like we literally will not do anything anymore that I mean. There's maybe 1 or 2 projects a year that will go below it because I just want them for the portfolio or the relationships, where we might go below like 60%. Like we're always trying to keep 60% margins, but we have office space, we have a large payroll, we have production vans, gear, like we have salaries, benefits, 401ks, like entire we have servers, like it's a lot of stuff. And if we go below that, like it basically becomes unprofitable for us as far as at that point.
So that 60% would go into all that stuff, right?
And paying yours truly too,
Yeah.
because I'm not just working to pay payroll.
Yeah.
Right. So technically that's margins on a per project basis rather than like margins on total revenue or
Per project, I do it per
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
Like if you get too grandiose as far as with that, because I found that out real quickly in this business. I was like, look at our average deal size because of these like 8 to 10 projects a year that jack it way up. And it's like, no, dude, like take away those projects and your average deal size is super small, like
Yeah.
very small. And so we have to maintain it from a per project perspective instead of overall, because I've been there, I've done that as far as doing it overall, and then you keep like, our revenue's so high. Like, we're averaging $250,000 a month, $300,000 a month. Why can't I pay myself? And it's like, well, it's
The
because
expenses.
yeah, you're taking on a ton of shitty projects, dude. Like, if you cut out probably 30 to 40% of those, you would be able to pay yourself nicely. But you're just moving money. You're not making money.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
how big's your team right now? So it's you, it's three, you and two other salespeople, and who else is there?
2 shooters, animator, a production director, and then 1 editor. As far as with it, we contract everything else out.
7, 8 people roughly.
I think it's 8.
Yeah. So it's 7. It's one's contract.
7.
As far
one's a contract.
She's contract, but like I consider her kind of full time as far as at this point. So, but that's another thing. Like nobody, at least in the U.S. anyways, you guys are in Canada. In all my entrepreneurship classes in high school and college, as far as with it, nobody talked about employment tax. Nobody talked about unemployment tax. Nobody talked about the cost of benefits and how those continually go up every single year. Because it's like, oh yeah, I'm paying this person 75, this person 120, this person 90. Okay. It's like, no. You're actually paying them about 12 to 15% more than that. So a $90,000 employee is more like 102 to 105. And then on and on and on as far as with it. So it's like your margins get eaten and eaten and eaten. And this is how it is. It's just how it works.
Why they don't teach that in university? Because I was wondering myself, okay, why wouldn't they be teaching?
Because they want you to be an
stuff?
employee. That's why.
Well, that's one too. That's one. The second thing is they're only teaching you the basics, where it's like most of you are not even going to get past making a business plan. So what's the point of teaching you about?
Yeah.
No,
the thing
how to
is,
deal with employees.
no, it's not even that, Kirill. It's they weren't even like business people teaching it. They were just people that read about it.
Yeah.
People that read about it. What do they know? What do they know about like a struggle and all that stuff? Selling. Let's say, have you sold anything?
Yeah. See, that's the thing is like everybody that tells me that they want to start their own business, I always tell them like, good luck, because this is a whole other lifestyle. Like, yeah, like you can cut out and I don't know, go play golf, work out, like whatever you want to do as far as with it, like some days out of the week, maybe in the afternoon. But I've always believed in work-life integration. Like I'll take like tonight, I have a networking event I have to go to, and at Top Golf. Pretty excited about that. Never been to Top Golf, but do you know what that is?
No.
It's like a golf simulator deal where they've got, it's like a bar or golf, and they've got like a big range that you like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I've never been. You play games at it. Supposedly, we're a big golf team, so
Nice.
Yeah, Courtney's actually the best golfer on the team. She's like a 15 handicap or something like that. I'm like
Nice.
26 or something like that. But anyways, and then I have a call at 9 p.m. It's a pre-production call with a surgical group, and it's the only time they can do. They're a startup surgical group that a bunch of doctors left and went out on their own. A couple of surgeons focused in orthopedics. It's the only time they could do. They're like, dude, we're like building this business. It's just how it goes as far as with it. Mm-hmm. But I always say to entrepreneurs and then freelancers too, like, you know, controlling your emotional flow in this world is more important than controlling your cash flow as far as at times, because it's super challenging. Like, you're literally doing something that has a 95% failure rate, and every year you're in business, that failure rate goes up. So
I thought it goes down. Doesn't go down?
Goes up. It goes up. Yeah. Entrepreneurs, a buddy of mine that's a VC told me, he was like, entrepreneurs have basically like a 10-year runway as far as with every business that they start, as far as within it, because they burn out after 10 years or they lose interest. Like, how many people do you know that maybe like start a nice little business and then try to start another one immediately? And then they've got like a couple of like businesses that are just breaking even instead of focusing on one ship as far as within it.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It is what it is though. So anyways.
Interesting. I on your website, it says that, I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but for our listeners, you guys are based out of Chicago, but you're also based out of Indianapolis?
We have sub offices in Indianapolis. We have an office in Indianapolis as far as just a co-working space. We're trying to build out the market down there. We're running a ton of paid advertising campaigns and then AdWord campaigns. Same in Lafayette, Indiana, as far as there. Like, we have physical office space, but we're trying to build out those markets, but there's just not as much business as far as in those markets compared to Chicago. I'd like to get salespeople down there, but I don't feel comfortable like leaving a salesperson just on their own down there without me kind of, looking over their shoulder the entire time to make sure they're actually doing something, because salespeople are notoriously lazy, as I'm sure you all found out. Yeah. As I'm sure you all found out.
Yeah. You know what? You might be right, because I technically do the sales, and I do have a struggle with laziness.
It's tough, man. Getting
He's like, yeah, I'm running errands today, right, Dario?
Running errands. But when we start to sell,
Yeah, for sure. No, 100%.
Well, there's a thing to needing, like, sometimes, like, like when you do like stretches of like intense work for a while, and then like you need like just a little bit to yourself just to kind of reset and recharge. I think that's kind of like what you were mentioning as well about, one of the benefits of working for yourself is that sometimes you need to be able to do that in order to be really productive in the other times as well. Because it's like you can't be running on point like 24/7 constantly, because burnout is such a huge thing. And I know some freelancers in our industry here in Toronto that have dealt with burnout, and I've heard how it's affected their health in many ways as well. And like, you shouldn't be getting to that point, because then if it starts to affect your health, that also affects your longevity, right? Because if you start burning out early, then you're not going to be ready for the next 6 months that come after that. You never know when work is just going to start popping up out of nowhere. Like right now, June is starting to get crazy on all fronts. So it's like, you have to be ready for that.
Totally. Yeah. And you can't mask it with caffeine. Like, that'll work for a while. That'll work for a little while, but like, you've got to, I always say entrepreneurship without exercise, because I work out a ton, is a death sentence, like literally. So, but it's kind of how it goes. But fellas, I got to run, actually. We have a shoot we have to go to right now.
It's all good.
Yeah, no worries.
So guys, if you want to find Tyler, you can go to MatchPointStudio.com. They're based out of Chicago, and so Indianapolis, is that official? Do you want to push that, or?
Yeah, I mean, okay. We're one of the highest rated production companies in Indianapolis. So we're
nice.
Yeah, we have offices in Indianapolis and Lafayette, Indiana.
Okay, nice. So yeah, if you guys need to reach out to Tyler, whether you want to ask him some questions or you need to get your project done, make sure to reach out to him. And yeah, so Tyler, I know you got to run, so thanks again for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, fellas. My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Creatives Grab Coffee. Please make sure to follow and engage with us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app.
Creatives Grab Coffee is created by Labs Productions, a video production company based in Toronto, Canada.
Creatives Grab Coffee is also sponsored by...
My name is Miran. Welcome to Canada Film Equipment. We are a boutique rental house based in Toronto. We are here to help you guys out with all production sizes. Feel free to contact us to get a quote if you are a production house and you're looking for lighting, camera packages, or lighting and group fan packages. You can see our contact information in the link below. We are more than happy to help you guys out. Make sure you follow and subscribe to creativesgrabcoffee.com. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt. Welcome to Audio Process. We are a boutique audio company doing location sound, sound design, post-sound, ADR, Foley. We service equipment. We do all your audio needs here in Toronto. We got you covered. Come on down, audioprocess.ca. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and all of the other internet things to creativesgrabcoffee.com. They'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you, and we're all going to have a real good time.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.